Okay, this is the aqua regia from yesterday's video where I dissolved the magnetic gold-plated scrap with sulfuric acid. You can see looks like there's some floaters in there. Looks like that's gold plating. I'm going to get that in a solution. I'm going to leave it in this dirty solution. I'm not going to filter that out. I had already decanted it and made sure there was nothing solid sitting at the bottom. Haven't filtered it yet, but I'm gonna get this everything in there dissolved, and then I'm gonna filter it. And I think I'm just gonna go straight to electrolysis to try to bring back anything that might be in there. I'm hoping there's something in there. It should be a tiny amount, but yeah, I'm gonna separate these into two separate videos. The ferrous sulfate and this part will be a separate video. But all right, I'm gonna get to work. I'll be back later. All right, this is heating up. It's I don't know if y'all can see it. It's 119. Let's see, 125. Got a little bit of nitric right there. Gonna dose it in until I don't see anything floating in here anymore. This was the first stannous chloride test this morning. It came back negative. It did have a couple little magnetic chunks in there that didn't dissolve with the aqua regia last night. So the series of reactivity, if there's anything that is more reactive than gold, the gold will plate out on whatever is more reactive. So iron, copper, nickel, everything, silver is more reactive. So the gold will come out of solution if it does go into solution onto that. So you want to make sure that's not in there anymore. So I'm gonna start dosing this, give it a little bit, and I'll be back in a little while. You guys are just gonna, it'll just be a second for y'all, it'll be an eternity for me. I was thinking I could, you could actually filter this, and since the stannous chloride test came out negative, you could actually filter this and capture everything and put it in a cleaner solution. But I think what I want to do is try to push this into solution and then pull it out with electricity and do a selective precipitation according to voltage, instead of just precipitating everything that is a metal in there. Sodium metabisulfate will precipitate a whole bunch of different metals besides just gold. It's very low, very high on the reactivity. So anything less reactive than sodium, from what I understand, should come out, which is basically almost everything. Some don't, but a lot do. The iron sulfate is less reactive than sodium. That's why iron sulfate brings back cleaner gold with less contaminants. But yep, here we go. Now I was thinking I could actually filter this and capture that stuff and put it in a cleaner solution, since the first stannous chloride test came out negative. But I think I want to push this in a solution and use electrolysis and precipitate the gold back according to voltage. And I'll get into that later on in this when I'm doing it. Different metals require different voltages to plate out. So, all right, well, it'll be at least an hour for me until I'm back. but for you guys it'll just be a couple seconds. All right, this is where we're at right now. I've got this up to, let's see, get a temperature. What's it say? It says 140 right now. I've got 20 drops of nitric in it, and there's still some stuff floating in there. I don't want to put too much nitric in it because I don't want to have to denox the extra nitric. But you saw that? So that's 24 drops of nitric that I put in it so far. I'm gonna leave it in this dirty solution. I'm gonna do electrolysis with the dirty solution. Now, like I said, the first stannous chloride test came out negative, and it did have some little small pieces of iron, and I found a little bitty piece of copper in there. So that means gold would not have stayed in solution if there was stuff that was more reactive than the gold that was a solid at the bottom of the beaker. I took those pieces out, and now I'm going to be able to dissolve the little pieces that weren't allowed to go into solution because of the more reactive metals that were sitting in the solution that this was plating out on. Like I said, I'm going to leave it in this dirty solution and do electrolysis to recover. Hopefully there is something, but we see it a little bit dissolving. It's just going to be a tiny amount though, but this should be a fun video. I'm not expecting to have to add a lot of nitric. I'll be back in a little bit. This is going to be fun, guys. Okay, it's been about 4 hours, and from putting nitric in this, I finally got it to the reaction to end. Slowly putting nitric in it. I didn't put too much. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to have to denox. That's just adding more chemicals, and you're trying to clean chemicals out. I've done 3 stannous chloride tests. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot, but that's a decent amount of liquid for a very small amount of gold. Now this is what I do to see if see if there's excess nitric. This is a LCD screen board. I'll stick it in here like that and see if it removes the gold plating to see if it has excess nitric. But yeah, I'm gonna get this filtered out, and might need to denox a little bit, but I'm gonna get this filtered out, and I'll be back in a little bit to do the electrochemistry and plate out the gold on the cathode. I'll be back. And yes, everything dissolved that was floating. So there should be a little bit, like I said, little bitty bit, probably looking at 1/10 of a gram, something like that, maybe less. But I'll be back. All right, I got the heat cut off. Gonna let it cool down out here for a little while. I put in a little bit of urea to denox, and there wasn't much of a reaction. Like I said, I used that little circuit board too, and it didn't pull off any of the gold plate off of that. But the reaction stopped. I put in 3 milliliters more of nitric after the reaction stopped, and I didn't get a reaction at all out of that. So it didn't take much urea, and I'm going to get this filtered through a number 2 filter, and then I'll be back to use I'll get set up with the electricity to plate this out. Like I said, I've done the stannous chloride, and I don't see much there, but I do believe there is a little bit in here. So let's see if we can get something out of this, and then I'll go ahead and dissolve and refine that in a much smaller beaker. This is a 1,000 milliliter Pyrex. I'll probably do what I get out of it in a 250 milliliter Pyrex. All right, I'll be back. All right, y'all. 8 hours into this. No, 7. 7 hours into this. Today. Yesterday I had 12 into it. 7 hours into this, and I'm getting it filtered. This is a grade 2 filter. I believe it's 8 micron. So I'm gonna get this dirty solution filtered out. It's still gonna be dirty, but it'll be clean of any particles. Get it into a smaller beaker and put the electrodes in, and let's see what happens with low voltage plating. I'll be back when this is filtered. All right, 8 hours in today. Actually, 8 today, 12 yesterday, so it's been 20 hours for me to get to this point. But this is the point that we've all been waiting for. All right. We know this is contaminated with a lot of iron. It's got a green color to it. I did find a little piece of copper at the bottom. So we're gonna go at 1.5 volts. I didn't even turn it on yet. Let's see. All right. And with the same iridium anode, titanium cathode, and I'll be back in just a couple minutes to take a look at the cathode, see if anything's plated out on it. But this is iron, so iron takes a whole lot more voltage than 1.5 volts to plate out. The more reactive the metal is, the higher the voltage is needed for it to plate out. So this is a good way to selectively just pull out just the gold. So, like I said, we'll be back, and when this makes a little progress. All right, this is working. Let me show you this real quick. It was pulling a little less than 1/4 of an amp. The problem is that it's such a small amount of gold that it's not, I can't wash it off at the cathode. But I touched it with the tip of my finger, and it is gold that was on there. It just came right off with the tip of my finger. So what I did was I mixed up about 100 milliliters of hydrochloric acid with 6 milliliters of nitric acid, a little bit of weak aqua regia, and I'm going to take the cathode and put it in this to dissolve the gold off of it. And that's going to be how I'm going to have to collect this gold, because it's such a small amount. But I'm going to let it run to probably, we'll see if I can get it down to 0.00 something amps. I've ran it before to 0.002 amps, 0.003 amps to pull gold out, but all they had in that was just gold, and I think it was lead sulfate or silver sulfate. I still got to test that. I kept it in a jar. But yeah, I'm going to get this dissolved in there, and let's see if the color of that aqua regia changes color. I'll be back in just a few minutes. There you go, and just like that, it's turning a yellowish color. Just see how it's on there. It just, rinsing it with water, it didn't want to come off this time. So I'm going to do this a little bit, and I'll let this run a little longer, and I'll get back to y'all. And I forgot to say that the titanium cathode is aqua regia does not affect it. You can it's impervious to aqua regia, so this isn't going to hurt the cathode. All right, I'll be back. I'm going to give this a little bit of heat, get that dissolved off. Just a little bit of heat. You can see a little bit on there. Yeah. All right. Let me get that dissolved off and put it back in. We'll see how this comes out. See, it's coming off, dissolving. Once it all comes off, I'm gonna do a stannous test on this liquid. We'll see what it. Oh, these acid fumes. Yeah, I think it's just about done. It's such a little amount. The first three, these three were from the solution before I started the electrolysis and filtered it. This is the one I just did. It's hard to see, but this is just a little bit. It's still working in there, so I'm keep going with it. I may have gotten that a little too hot. It turned a bright red, but yep, I'll be back with this. I got the cathode back in the solution and the power back on. It's pulling 0.187 amps. So it's a little less than a quarter now, getting closer to 1/8 of an amp. And I'm gonna let it keep rolling. We're gonna see what all plates out, if any iron or whatever plates out from this. If that had iron, it would be a greenish color. So, okay. Doing further research, I just discovered that titanium is only impervious to aqua regia at room temperature. So boiling it can get past the protective oxide layer. So this is probably contaminated with titanium now. Doesn't matter. I'll figure it out. I'll be back. So in other words, what I'm saying is, don't do what I just did to your titanium cathode. Alright, it's 1 a.m. now. I'm 25 hours into this reaction from when I started yesterday dissolving this stuff in sulfuric. I'm gonna dump this in my stock pot with iron sulfate and precipitate anything that might be in it. I'm gonna precipitate what's outside with iron sulfate. First I'm gonna denox it, then I'm gonna precipitate that, and once that settles a little bit, I'll do a clip showing what's in there. It's not gonna be a lot at all, but I wasn't expecting it to be a lot. It's still something. It came from crap gold plate jewelry. So I'm gonna get this knocked out so I can get this video posted. I'll be back. Oh, and to show you, it's been on here for another hour, and the cathode looks clean. There's nothing on it. No more gold. And what I think I'm gonna do is I'll take everything from my stock pot tomorrow and redissolve it in aqua regia and bring it back using this, and I'll show y'all, make a video about it going to completion. I think this is still pulling amperage because it's such a dirty solution. Nothing else is coming out of it though. So I'm gonna get this done. I'll be back in just a second for you guys, but it'll be probably an hour for me. I'll be back. And I just found out from research that iron sulfate does not precipitate titanium. So, alright. Color change at the top, stratifying. I don't think anything's coming out of solution though. Alright. Go get the iron sulfate. And both of these pieces of iron sulfate I had made today. Throw the other piece in. I really don't think there's going to be a lot of anything in this. But it did work. And I'm going to do some more experiments with this. I'll make videos about it. I played with it a little bit before. Or since I made the first video about it. But I'm going to make some more videos about it. Looks like the red's going away. Alright y'all, might be making a video about how to get titanium out of gold. Alright y'all, there's not really much in there to write home about. I'm gonna dump all of that into my stock pot, and tomorrow I'm gonna make another video about I'm gonna dissolve everything that's in my stock pot and then put it in a little beaker like this one and bring it back with the electricity to completion, so y'all can see the change in the color and the amperage drop as it gets done. But I'm gonna call it quits. It's getting close to 2 a.m. I've been doing this since noon and getting a little tired. But I hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm gonna do another one tomorrow. Like and subscribe. Sound like every other dork on YouTube now. I'm gonna be making a bunch more videos about stuff like this. See y'all soon.